Welcome to Rainbow Spotlight, where the lights are hot, the icons are hotter, and today's lineup, too hot to ignore. We're so glad you're here because this episode is a full-on celebration of 5 gay influencers who are setting 2025 on fire. These aren't just pretty faces. They're powerhouses of presence. When they show up on your feed, everything else fades. And when they post, you don't just scroll, you stare. From flawless fits to unapologetic queer energy, these men are making the internet blush, and we're here for every second. Ready to fall a little too hard for someone you're probably already following? Drop their name below and type "watched" if your heart's been doing double taps all year. Christopher Briney, the quiet flame behind the pretty face. Christopher Briney doesn't act like a star. He moves like someone who hasn't realized he is one yet. That's his secret, the unstudied grace, the kind that makes beauty feel like an accident. You don't catch him trying to be desirable. He just is. When The Summer I Turned Pretty first aired, audiences expected another teen heartthrob. Charming, easy, forgettable. What they got instead was depth. Christopher brought a stillness to the screen that felt almost dangerous. His eyes don't sparkle. They study. His silence isn't awkward. It's observant. He doesn't need to do much, just exist. And suddenly, every scene starts orbiting around him. It's rare, that kind of magnetism. Not the loud, performative kind that burns out quickly, but the slow one that lingers. You can feel his energy through the screen. The mix of curiosity and caution, the sense that there's more going on beneath the surface. He makes simplicity feel intimate. Off-screen, he's the same. Thoughtful, unhurried, almost mysterious in a generation addicted to oversharing. He talks about books, about camera work, about how storytelling can change the way people feel seen. When asked about fame, he laughs as if it's something happening to someone else. That humility is disarming. It makes you look closer, listen longer. Christopher's kind of sexy doesn't shout. It hums. It's the way he leans against a wall, the way his jaw tightens when he's thinking, the way his voice dips when he's uncertain. It's that mix of softness and restraint, the space between touch and tension. He reminds you that desire doesn't always need confidence. Sometimes it just needs truth. Fashion brands adore him for the same reason directors do. He doesn't perform for the camera. He collaborates with it. Whether in a loose white shirt or a perfectly cut suit, his presence is cinematic. There's texture in the way he moves, like an old photograph that suddenly comes alive. But beneath the polish, there's vulnerability. He's not afraid to show uncertainty, to let his characters ache quietly. That emotional honesty, that refusal to hide behind irony, is what makes him stand out. In an industry obsessed with image, Christopher offers something rarer, sincerity. And maybe that's why people can't look away. Because his beauty isn't intimidating, it's comforting. He doesn't invite lust. He invites curiosity. You don't just want to see him, you want to understand him. In 2025, Christopher Briney is more than a rising star. He's a reminder that real attraction begins with authenticity. He doesn't chase fame, and that's exactly why it keeps finding him. He's not the loudest man in the room, but he's always the one you remember when the lights go down, because some flames don't roar. They just burn, quietly, endlessly, beautifully. Andrea Denver, the runway king, whose smile made the internet question everything. Andrea Denver wasn't supposed to be this hot. He was supposed to be too hot. The kind of Instagram perfect face that made you roll your eyes and keep scrolling. But somewhere between the cheekbones, the low-cut tank tops, and the soft Italian accent, we stayed, and then we followed. And now, we're obsessed. Originally known for modeling campaigns with Ralph Lauren and Hugo Boss, Andrea didn't just stop at fashion. He expanded into reality TV, music videos, shout out to J-Lo, and social media, where he quickly became the internet's favorite man to thirst over. But here's the twist. His biggest fan base isn't straight girls. It's gay men. And we're not talking subtle appreciation. We're talking full-on worship. Because Andrea knows exactly what he's doing. The shirtless selfies, the gym thirst traps, the slow-motion runway walks paired with sultry music. This man doesn't post, he performs. And his audience? Loud, queer, and loyal. What makes Andrea so magnetic to gay fans isn't just the body, though, let's be real, that alone could carry a career. It's the way he leans into being looked at, admired, desired. There's no discomfort, no homo defense mechanism. He welcomes the gaze. And in a world where so many men shrink from queer attention, Andrea thrives in it. He's been spotted at Pride events, walked for queer designers, and regularly interacts with LGBTQ+ fans online with warmth and humor. He even once told an interviewer that he loved being a gay icon and considered it an honor. That kind of openness? Unheard of in a world where straight men often benefit from queer admiration while pretending not to notice. And here's where it gets interesting. Andrea may not publicly identify as gay, or even queer, but his presence has become a kind of safe thirst zone for queer audiences. He gives just enough to keep the fantasy alive, while never mocking it, distancing from it, or treating it like a joke. That's a delicate line, and Andrea walks it with the grace of a man who gets it. There's also something uniquely European about Andrea's masculinity. He doesn't flex too hard. He smiles softly. He wears gold jewelry and open shirts without apology. His vibe is less alpha male and more luxury boyfriend you meet on vacation and never get over. And in 2025, that energy is exactly what queer fans are craving. Beauty, warmth, confidence, and the thrill of maybe. Andrea Denver isn't just an influencer. He's an illusion we want to believe in, and he plays the part flawlessly. Has Andrea ever made you forget what you were doing and just stare at your phone like it owed you an explanation? Type TOOHOT in the comments if his Instagram has ever ruined your productivity. Guillaume Cizeron, the ice dancer who made queer elegance an Olympic event grace. Power, stillness, seduction. Somehow Guillaume Cizeron manages to embody all of it. And he does it while gliding across a sheet of ice like it's silk. In a world of influencers trying to manufacture charm, Guillaume doesn't have to try. He moves, and the world watches. And when queer beauty takes form in motion, in line, in emotion, in choreography, he's the blueprint. Guillaume is a 5-time European champion, 5-time world champion, and Olympic medalist in ice dance, performing alongside his longtime skating partner, Gabriela Papadakis. Their chemistry on the ice is mesmerizing. But what really sets Guillaume apart is how he brought something radically queer to a space that's often stiff, conservative, and built on rigid gender roles. He didn't just compete. He redefined what masculinity could look like on the Olympic stage. Openly gay and proud, Guillaume shattered the silent rule book around figure skating. While many athletes remained closeted or neutral to protect their careers, Guillaume came out publicly in 2020, not with a tearful announcement or a tabloid scoop, but with quiet clarity and grace. He didn't frame his queerness as a distraction. He made it part of the art. Watch him skate and you'll see it. The fluid wrists, the vulnerable eye contact, the ability to project both tenderness and dominance, sometimes in the same routine. He dances with a kind of intimacy that makes the crowd hold its breath, not because of the score, but because of the story. And while ice dance has long blurred gender roles, Guillaume made it undeniably queer. His body language speaks of softness without weakness, strength without rigidity. There's no posturing, no pretending. He brings ballet, expressionism, and raw emotion to every step. And queer fans around the world see it for what it is: representation with artistry. Off the ice, Guillaume is just as compelling. His Instagram is a curated dream of fashion editorials, shirtless landscapes, abstract poetry, and Parisian coffee shops. He blurs the line between athlete and aesthetic icon, with chiseled features, piercing eyes, and an aura that says, "I know who I am, and I'm not here to explain it." He has quietly become one of the most admired queer influencers in the world. He doesn't shout for attention. He draws it in like gravity. In 2025, Guillaume is more than an Olympian. He's a queer icon whose influence ripples far beyond the rink. In a time when queer beauty is often loud and performative, and we love that too, he reminds us that subtlety can be just as powerful, and sometimes even more unforgettable. Has Guillaume ever made you feel something deep just by how he looked over his shoulder mid-spin? Type Iceburn in the comments if you've replayed his routines like they were love letters written in movement. Nicholas Pushman, the gay bachelor who turned reality TV into a queer love revolution. Nicholas Pushman didn't just break the rules, he rewrote them in rose petals, designer suits, and a confident smirk that made queer fans everywhere lean in a little closer. In 2019, Nicholas became Germany's first ever gay bachelor on the hit show Prince Charming, making international headlines and history in the same breath. And while reality dating shows have been a staple of straight culture for decades, Nicholas brought something totally new. A queer love story that wasn't shy, tragic, or edited for laughs, but powerful, romantic, and fully real. From the very first episode, he carried himself with charisma and care. He wasn't performative. He wasn't stiff. He was warm, funny, stylish, and totally at ease with being adored, not just by the contestants, but by millions of viewers who had never seen a gay man lead a dating show with that much elegance and confidence. And let's be honest, he looked good doing it. Tall, blue-eyed, and dressed like he stepped out of a luxury magazine, Nicholas was the perfect blend of classic bachelor polish and queer refinement. He flirted like a pro, cried without shame, and kissed on camera like it was no big deal, because it shouldn't be. And that's where the revolution started.